Hey everybody, this video we've got Xhorse universal remotes, and I'm going to try to go over the differences in these remotes. These are questions that come up a lot in the Xhorse Facebook group, so see if we can kind of answer some of them here. So we'll notice here that the first three are all Ford style flip keys, and the difference being the packages are different colors. And the last one here is orange, and it's actually a keyless go universal smart key, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes. To start with though, now these three all look the same, but they are different. Okay, the circuit boards are different on all of them. Now red is actually what's called a wire remote. It has to be generated, using your wire plugged into your Key Tool Plus or Key Tool Max or Key Tool Mini and plugged into the circuit board, which we'll show you in just a second. And that's how these are actually generated. And another big difference too is on the wire ones, there is no chip in these, no NXP chip, no super chip, no nothing. It's just the circuit board. So we see here, no chip, okay, and we just have our socket that would plug into our tool, plug into here, and we can generate a remote. Now, in the United States, these are good if you want to make Hyundai flip keys because, Hyundai or Kia, there's no chip in those, so you could do flip keys with these because you don't need a chip. Or even if you're going to do, like a Subaru WRX or something, you could actually put a Subaru chip, inside of it and just generate the remote portion of it. And then you can also use just regular little key fobs. This red package, it's also wire, so it would generate the same way. You could turn this into a Ford key fob or whatever you want. We'll set that aside for now. And now we're going to go to wireless, and this is what's confusing. It's kind of named poorly, okay? So red has to be plugged in to the tool to be generated. All these three here, blue, purple, and orange, can be generated wirelessly just by putting a battery in it and putting it in the coil. Now, wireless, what this actually is, this has an NXP chip, which is built into the board. And we'll pull it out here. See, there's no socket because there's no need to plug it in. And it actually has a built-in NXP chip. Now, what these are for is, we'll just give you an example here, like an '09 Honda Civic. Let me jump on the Key Tool Plus and pull one up here. So I'm just going to search FCC ID, and I've already pre-searched these, so I can just pull them up. If you go to a Honda Civic, I would just say, for example, an '09 Honda Civic. Now it shows you a picture of what the OEM one looks like. And I'm going to notice over here on the right, it actually says right here, wireless remote, which means it can only use blue package wireless remote with the NXP chip. And all you would do is you would generate the remote, and then you would just program the chip via OBD, and the remote would learn in automatically because there's no onboard procedure for that kind of vehicle. So you have to use the NXP chip that the remote learns with the chip. That's what the wireless is actually for. Now, it should be named something else besides wireless, but that's what it is. So next here, we'll switch to purple, which is our super model, and this actually has a built-in super chip. So the cool thing about the super chip is, you can clone stuff on it, you can generate and program, different things you can do with it. So there's our built-in super chip. So this can also be generated wirelessly. We'll say, just for example, we know like a Ford F-150, like I say a 2011 F-150, it's an onboard procedure to actually learn the remote control. So you could actually go to, just search the Ford FCC ID, pull it up, we'll say F-150, 250, 350, and it'll show us here that it can actually be used, you can do wire remote or wireless remote, because this can actually be onboard programmed to the chip. The chip does not learn, the remote does not learn with the chip. Let me say it again. The remote does not learn with the chip. So basically you would generate the Ford remote, and then you would need to actually go to generate transponder. And since it's a 2011 F-150 we're theoretically working on, we would go here, and then we would generate the chip. And then you would just learn the chip via OBD, and then you would, do the on-off, the ignition 8 times to put the vehicle in programming mode to actually program in the remote portion of it. You could also do this with, say, like a, just for example, a '03 Honda Accord. All right, you would just say you're doing a spare key. You could actually generate that remote, and you could just do the onboard procedure to learn the remote, and you could actually just clone the other key onto the super chip, and then you're done. Or, Nissan's another good example. If you're adding a key to a Nissan, you could generate the Nissan remote, program the remote via OBD, and then you can just clone the chip or generate and program if you're doing all keys lost. But if there's an existing key, then you just generate the remote, program via OBD, and just clone the chip, and you're done. So that's what the super chip can do. The super chip can do anything a standalone super chip can do. All right, so that's our supermodel. And then we'll go to our smart key here. And for my example here for smart key, we're going to go to, we'll just use Dodge for example, because I happen to know the FCC ID, so I plugged it in. And we'll just say Chrysler, or I say Dodge Charger. So it shows us here, smart key. So it's got to be orange package, universal smart key. And you just put a battery in, generate it, and then you would just learn it in via OBD, exactly like you would a OEM remote. And it would, remote would learn in, and you could just have it in your pocket, start the vehicle exactly as you could if you were to purchase one of these from Dodge. So that's what the orange package indicates. And it tells you, can only be smart key. So the thing to really take away from this, if something says only wireless, it needs to be the blue package with the NXP chip. If something says wire or wireless, then you can use a wired remote and add a chip to it. Or, if it's a Hyundai or Kia in America, you don't have to put a chip, you would just program the remote. Or, it says wired or wireless, you can use, supermodel, or the wired. But, once again, if it says only wireless, that means there's no onboard procedure to learn the remote. And so you have to use the wireless style remote using an NXP chip. Now, some other tips to help out here, and I'll put this on the screen on a graphic that I found. The part numbers for these. If you're trying to search these on some distributor sites, if it's got XK in front of it, it's going to be wired. If it's got XN, like X-ray November, it's going to be wireless with the NXP chip. XE is a super chip, and then the XS is the orange package smart keys, the Prox keys. So that's how you search them on the distributor sites. And there's tons of different styles of all these. I just wanted to show the example of the 3 Ford style because they do look the same. There's just the differences in if it's got a chip or not, and then what kind of chip that it is. All right, so I think I've covered everything that I want to cover on this. And if you guys have any questions or anything, please put them in the comments or even drop me an email. There is an email address on there, and I might not get back to you like within seconds, but I do tend to answer all the comments and answer all my emails. So like I said, any questions or comments, put them in the comments. If this kind of stuff helps you, subscribe, share the video, and I'll put a link to a leashy playlist on my other channel, so you can check that out too if you need any help with leashes. I have hundreds of videos, or over 100 videos of leashes on my other YouTube channel, which I'll have just floating on the screen here. And so I think that's really all I do have for now. So yeah, I guess that's it, man. We'll talk to everybody later.